George. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah,
How are you all doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't make it to the campus today, so I decided to call this. Give me a minute. Let me take down the attendance. Quiz. Who is this quiz? Oh, I got it. Yeah, again. Somebody has the name iPhone. Who is the person? What's her name? The person's name is showing as iPhone.
Did you get my name?
Justina.
Justina? Okay, Justina.
Yes, sir.
Okay, hi. Okay, how are you doing?
I'm good, sir.
Let me write it down. I didn't see it here. Justina. Okay, let's say Justina. Justina, what's your last name?
Ajayi.
Ajayi, yes, Ajayi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got you. Who else? Okay, let us begin. I will start by, please, if you have a questions, ask me, don't text. I don't respond to text when I'm teaching, okay? Let me take you to your classroom. Now, you can see the screen, right? I believe. Hello, guys. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. I want to show you the announcements. About what is due this week. This is week 13. The week 13 test as usual. Then the first part you have already done it by being present tonight. Second part is to the readings. Of course, you know where the readings are. In the models, you go to the models and scroll down to week 13. That's where the reading is. If you click on this, it will bring out the reading. For those of you who want, like George. George, can you hear me, George? George. I thought I saw his name. Yeah. George, can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Anyway, those of you who want the PowerPoint is here. And of course, the test 13. So based on that, we can now go back to what we have tonight. Leadership. This word, they use it all the time, leadership. So what is leadership then? Okay. Now, who is a leader? What is leadership? 1 minute. Okay. Now, when we say leadership, of course, people say we're talking about leaders. Leaders. Yes, it's part of it. Now, leadership is the main concern of leadership is to establish a direction for an organization. Then to inspire a shared vision. Then, of course, which is a very big part of leadership, to inspire and influence others to follow a particular path. So when we say that somebody is a leader, we mean that person is can be compared to an architect of change. Architect of change. So that person have the ability to steer organization through uncharted territories. They also help the organization to evolve, to adapt to evolving landscapes. This is a little bit different from management. Although somebody who is a manager can also be a leader, it's possible. So when it comes to management, we are now, when we say management, we are thinking about how to every activity that leads to effectively administering the many complex details that are involved in the operation of the business or an organization. So the management, of course, management is the art of managing, of course, art of doing this, art of ensuring that all the business operations are effectively managed. The management can be a group of people who does that as well. The management ensures that tasks are planned, organized, and controlled with the main goal of course, maintaining stability and efficiency. So what does managers do then? So well, a leader, like I explained a few minutes ago, a leader inspires change. A leader steers the organization through uncharted territories. A leader helps the organization to adapt to evolving landscape. But a manager, in contrast, their main job is to make sure that the day-to-day operations of the organization are going well. In other words, managers are responsible for allocating resources, setting deadlines, and of course, monitoring performance. I think I have a short clip here about leadership and management, but I think I forgot to put the link. So, in other words, we can, in a nutshell, leadership and management are two essential skills that are needed in the business world. So while the leader provides the inspiration and direction, what does the manager do? The manager executes the plans and ensure efficiency. That's the difference between the two. Okay? Now, at this point, we're going to look at some examples. Having an example in business classes, examples and case studies are really one of the good ways of explaining the concept that are being taught at a particular time. So let us explore some of the lives or the real life examples of leaders and managers. Let's take the first one, leadership. Steve Jobs. Well, he's late now, but he was one of the founders of Apple. Apple that made the product that we like the iPhone, iPad, and very sleek looking computers. Apple is known for quality. Now, it is Steve Jobs who is a classic example of a leader. He possessed a visionary leadership style that focused on influencing and inspiring innovation. Okay, so he is known to be somebody who has a clear direction and a strong sense of purpose for Apple Incorporated. Now, through his leadership, Apple Incorporated was able to create groundbreaking products that change the way people live and work. We can do virtually anything in this phone. Whereas before Steve Jobs brought this, he did not invent this smartphone. Don't forget that he didn't invent it. I think the first company that started making smartphone, as far as I know, is the BlackBerry. So we can use it to make calls, take pictures, do certain things. But Steve Jobs brought something else. Before the smartphone, Steve Jobs changed the arena for the smartphone business model. Many people, the only way you can access internet is by having a computer, subscribing to cable company like Comcast or AT&T, then pay for a regular money. So Now, many people in some countries, like I'm talking about developing countries like South America, Africa, some part of Asia, many people cannot afford that. So many people don't have internet. But with smartphone, you don't need to do all that. Everything is, you can have it. Smartphone, you can access the internet. Steve Jobs made that possible. Something was invented by somebody else. He now used it, idea, extended the idea so much that it changed the world, really, literally. Now, almost everybody in these developing countries who have smartphone have internet. That is what a leader can do. So sometimes sometimes the leader don't need to reinvent the wheel, but they can take an existing product, add so many features, and functionality to it that change the way people do things. Now, it's hardly. I remember the time I came to America the first time. If I'm going to work, I'm driving to, I'm going to work, whether it's on the bus, and the time I started driving, if you pass a bus stop, you see people holding books, maybe novels or, self-help books in the bus. We are waiting for their bus. They are reading those books. But now, I don't see anybody reading books anymore. I see people reading something from their smartphone. I don't see books. I mean, look at this. If you think I'm lying, if you're driving to work or anywhere, get to the bus stops, all you gotta see is people looking at their smartphone, not books anymore. So leaders make that kind of thing possible. So through Steve Jobs' vision, Apple was able to develop iconic products like iPhone, iPads, and so many other things. So his leadership was characterized by passion, charisma, and relentless pursuit of excellence. And this drove Apple to success in the tech industry. As a matter of fact, up to today, Apple still maintains a competitive edge in the industry. Now look at somebody who came after Steve Jobs, Tim Cook. After Steve Jobs died, Tim Cook took over. Yeah, Tim Cook might have some, he's the CEO of Apple. He might have some leadership qualities in him, but mainly he's more of a manager than a leader. So since he's here, Apple, there has not been a groundbreaking innovation in Apple so far, but they keep adding more functionality to the smartphone every year, every 6 months, every year. There haven't been any big life-changing outcome after Tim Cook became the leader of Apple. The CEO of Apple. But they keep innovating. They keep improving the products, the existing products, making them more likable and more useful to the users. So Cook is undoubtedly his primary role was that of a manager. So and his management style is more of meticulous attention to detail. He also has the ability to efficiently oversee Apple's complex operations. Okay. He also is very good at planning and organizing the company's resources with the goal of ensuring that the products are manufactured and delivered with precision and quality. But in terms of having Apple having a groundbreaking invention like they did with the smartphone and other products they have, there hasn't been any. But what we have seen over the years after he took over is a continuous improvement of the existing Apple products. So let me play this short clip for you about leadership, and then we go to the next line. Let's see. Yeah, where can I put it? I'm gonna okay, let me put it here. I'm gonna put it right here, and then okay, right here. I'll put it right there.
From the beginning, we've dreamed of creating a better future. Now, we're setting out to be carbon neutral by 2050.
Can you hear the sound?
And we're gonna
Can you hear the sound?
keep dreaming. No matter where
Yes.
Okay, good. Good,
Yes.
good. Excellent, excellent.
Good afternoon. Today I want to share with you my leadership utopia. And when I was discussing this with a friend of mine, he was asking, leadership in utopia? Would we even need leadership in utopia? Isn't utopia finally the place and the moment where we can get rid of all of these leaders and live free? Well, I don't know. I think in a utopia there will be humans, hopefully. And if there are humans, there will hopefully still be social beings as well. And whenever there are social beings, they come together as well and form sometimes groups, sometimes organizations as well. And when there are these organizations, then I think the words of Peter Drucker are true. Only 3 things happen naturally in organizations: friction, confusion, and underperformance. Therefore, you don't need anything, but everything else requires leadership. So I do think also in utopia we should look at a leadership. But the question is, what kind of leadership? Should we look at the hero model of leadership, where the shining star is the ideal person? I don't know. Today I want to explore with you a different kind of leadership. And for this, I want you to do a little thought experiment. Think about the best leader you have ever worked with. Take a couple of seconds. Think about that person. What did he or she do, say, and so on? Now, all of you will have experienced other people, but I would dare to say, I don't think you will have things like, well, you know, the way that person yelled at me in the morning, that was excellent. That was just brilliant, the way, and I wanted always to have more. Probably not. Probably that person would have done different things. And I want to explore that together with you. Now, I do think leadership is an interesting thing, and sometimes it's over-glorified, but whenever you become a leader, and I had the chance to lead small teams, large organizations, non-profit, profit organizations, whenever you become a leader, you have like a rendezvous with reality. Leadership is a bit like parenting, right? You have all these visions and ideas what you will do, and then you're in the moment, and then what I would call the leadership problem formula kicks in. And probably the people you have thought about just a second ago have mastered this formula. What does that formula look like? Every leader and every of you who has ever been in a leadership position might have faced these challenges. I think every leader faces the leadership problem formula, and that goes TLT times people times power. First one is TLT, which for me stands for too little time. There's just not enough time to do things, and you can't pass it around, oh, somebody will take care of it. No, it's you, and then you need to do something. And what many people then fall back in is what I would call the headless chicken syndrome. They run around and say, oh, no, you do that, you do that, you do that, you do that. And that might then not be the greatest leadership. Then comes as well people. All leaders have to deal with people. And for me, I'm always reminded of my very first official leadership position, more than 10 years ago. So I would have my first direct reports, and the first direct report was coming into the room, and I had it all lined up. I had the vision, I had the team spirit, I had the story to tell, basically. And that was a very assertive young gentleman who came to me and said, Lars, that's all nice, but I have a question for you. Actually, I studied the email policy of the company. And you know, I have a motto I live by, and I always include this, and I have this for the past 5 years, I always include this in my email signature. Can I do this as well in this company? And there was, with all my stories and with all my vision and so on, it was like, what? Is that what leadership is all about? So I was studying the manuals for 2 hours and so on. Finally, we said, okay, let's go ahead with this one. But everybody who's ever led will see like it's not always about the glorious and shiny things, but it's all about the little things, the little discussion that we have to do. The last element is power, and that's an interesting one. There's a very interesting study done at the University of Berkeley in '98, and they brought in random students. and selected them randomly in groups of 3. And from these groups of 3, 2 of them had to do a 2-hour assignment. And one of them was randomly assigned to be the supervisor. And then, as social science experiments goes, there was a special twist to it. At half an hour, the researchers then brought in cookies. And of course, it was videotaped. And then they observed what happens actually there. They had some hypothesis. And sure enough, the people who were randomly assigned to be supervisors significantly ate more of the cookies, but not only this. They actually left significantly more of the breadcrumbs as well on the table, like I'm this, and it was very visually measurable. And that just shows after 30 minutes of random.
All right, guys. You see the title to the video. I recommend that you watch it. It's very interesting, and you're gonna learn a lot from it. I want to show you a brief of the clip so you can see what we are saying when we defined leadership. Okay. All right. Let's see. Taking it back to our lecture. Now we go back to the leadership presentation. You can see where I wrote formal and informal leadership. Now, when we say formal leadership or formal leaders, we are referring to those individuals who have been appointed to positions of authority within an organization, which can be a business organization or a government agency. It can even be a non-profit. So those formal leaders, they are responsible for setting goals, making decisions, overseeing the work of others. So now, we call them formal leaders because they have been appointed to these positions of authority within the organization, which means that their leadership is based on their designated title. And not only that, those titles command authority. So in other words, their leadership is based on the fact that they were appointed to the position of authority. And also their designated title and the power that title conveys made them formal. And we call them formal leaders. So we have like managers of big corporations, department head in government agencies, CEOs. Well, I call them managers, but like I say, a manager can also be a leader. These are all leaders, team leaders in government, state agencies, government departments. So their position, the position of authority that they hold, made their leadership formal. And I have an example here. One example, I use a Mary Farmer of General Motors. So Miss Mary Barra, sorry, of General Motors. So Mary Barra is the CEO of General Motors, and she exemplifies the impact of formal leadership. Now, why did I say that? Yeah, well, under the leadership of Mary Barra, General Motors has really undergone a remarkable transformation. The company embraced electric vehicles and also autonomous driving technologies. Well, autonomous driving technology, that one, personally, I don't understand that principle. I can understand of electric vehicle, but the idea of a car driving itself in the public roads, with me being so conscious of road safety, the idea of autonomous driving technologies, I would say, I guess I'm old school when it comes to driving. Anyway, Ms. Barra's strategic vision and unwavering commitment to innovation had made her to position General Motors as one of the leaders in the US automobile industry. Yeah, so now Ms. Barra have that position of leadership because of the the General Motors hired her to be the leader. So it has a formal position of authority. She holds a formal position of authority, and her leadership is based on that designated title of CEO and the power that title conveys. Yeah. Now, how about Elon Musk? We all know, we all heard about Elon Musk of Tesla. So Elon Musk is I know he's a crazy guy, but he's a leader. And his leadership, he was a CEO, so the authority that is ascribed to that position made him a former leader of the company. Of course, that is the highest position in the company, the CEO. So Elon Musk holds that highest position, highest executive position in the company, and is also responsible for setting the overall direction, strategy, and vision of Tesla. Based on his ability to make critical decisions, his ability to allocate resources, his ability to guide the organization towards achieving their goals, we say, yeah, that is a formal leadership. So, in an organization that like Tesla or other organization, the leader may struggle to provide strong leadership, and that can lead the organization to lacking direction and purpose. But in terms of Tesla, I mean, how he was able to convince investors about the possibility of having a car that is driven by battery, not by gas. That means that there's other companies, a car that is driven by gas have other engine components that make it possible for that car to convert the energy in gas into mechanical energy that means driving, and of course to other forms of energy like electrical. So to have a battery that will do all that, do that kind of job, I mean, for him to be able to convince people to invest in the company over the years is, I would say, is legendary. And that's what he did. Okay. Now let's look at informal leadership. Under informal leadership, we are thinking about people who does not have official status as a leader, but because of their personal quality and ability, people in his group or her group see them as leaders or as the leading force. In other words, when it comes to informal leadership, we have that kind of leadership when they come from individuals who exhibit some kind of special qualities that can actually, I would say, it's almost as if they are subconsciously leading the organization. People look up at, simple way of saying it is that people look up to them for direction, even though they don't have a position that have the title of that kind of authority. But people listen to them, they look for them, at them. So I used the example of John Wooden. He was the they call him, he said that he's legendary University of California basketball coach. So he's a good example of informal leadership. So the style he used for coaching the players, which is characterized by humility, empathy, and a focus on personal growth. That's kind of that coaching style inspired his players to reach their full potential. So available documentary published evidence have revealed that John Wooden's leadership extended beyond the basketball court. So he was able to leave an indelible mark on the lives of his players. And through his activity, he was able to shape the culture of University of California athletics. Now, any question to what I have said so far?
No.
Okay, good, excellent. That means we'll be finishing on time today. So at this point, we're ready to look at some of the qualities of a good leader. Or what you call, I'll call it, well, let me say this. Let's look at some of the characteristics of leaders, of an effective leader, of course, we'll say that. So a short form of, a short name for it is leadership traits. Okay? It means all those characteristics and qualities that influence how leaders inspire, motivate, and guide their teams. So those traits are here: drive, desire, honesty, and integrity, self-esteem, self-confidence, open-mindedness, intelligence, and extraversion. So let me play this clip again. This clip, see about some of these some great leaders and what qualities they had. So I'm gonna put it right here.
Just imagine the perfect small business that you could start. What would that look like? You'd be able to work from home. You wouldn't have to rent expensive commercial office space. Number two, you could do it part-time. You wouldn't have to quit your day job.
Okay,
Number three, you could...
I believe you can hear it, okay? Look at this clip.
According to recent research, 80% of leaders today fail to impress in the first 2 years of their leadership roles. 70% admit to being incredibly stressed. Over 70% admit to not enjoying the job. And gone are the days when we used to have a job for life. Today, people stay in a job for 4 years. And within the millennials, that's only 3 years. When I saw those statistics, I was terrified. I'm in the middle of my career. But that doesn't mean that great leadership isn't around us. It's all around us. So I've been writing a book about leadership, about emotional intelligence, trying to find what the common denominator, the X factor of great leadership is. And I started this a couple of years ago, and I started where everybody starts research, and that's on Google. And I typed in great leadership. And these are some of the faces that came up on the very first page of Google. A couple of observations. Firstly, you'll know them all, probably. Secondly, if I'd have given you, an intelligent audience, the opportunity to think of a category or a heading where you could sandwich Captain Kirk between Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King, I bet you couldn't have done it. But there he is. So, excuse me. So these are all the people that we know and love. I've got twin boys, 9 years of age, and I asked them in the kitchen the other week, who do you think is a great leader? And Oliver said Barack Obama. He's 9 years of age, and he picked probably one of the most influential leaders of our time. William picked me. 50 pages I searched in Google, couldn't find a single picture of me anywhere. But I take solace in the fact that they're twins. You know, they're pretty similar, and if Oliver's so right, William can't be so wrong. But great leadership isn't reserved for those famous people that we see here. You know, you'll all know great leaders. I've been privileged enough to work for a couple of great leaders. I've got friends and peers, and some of those are great leaders. I've had a great leader who's worked for me. So what is the X factor of great leadership? Well, according to the research I've done, I'll tell you what it's not. Contrary to popular belief, great leadership isn't IQ. It's an entry point. It certainly helps, but it's not IQ. I know some really clever people who have failed in a number of leadership positions. It's not privilege. Some of those people weren't born into money privilege. They weren't born into educational privilege. It's not job title. As nice as it is to have CEO or chairman next to your name, job title is actually listed as one of the top 10 reasons why leaders fail, because they rely on that title for respect. So within my research, I've been looking for the common denominator, and how do we categorize that? Emotional intelligence. And it's frustrating, because it's been stigmatized for so long. It's woolly, it's a black art, it's soft management, you can't measure it. Or maybe you can't measure it. And just because it's emotion doesn't mean it's not important. Some of the most significant events on earth happen because of emotion. So what I'd like to do today is pick 3 of those common denominators, just 3, and offer it to you as an audience of pointers, 3 pointers for great leadership. And I'll start with people. Now, people covers a whole spectrum of stuff. But what I'd like to do is concentrate on connection. Every leader needs a connection with people. But if you need a connection with people, you have to have a connection with yourself. You have to know yourself fully. Self-reflection is one of the cornerstones of great leadership. Understanding yourself, knowing what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you motivated, what gives you those negative feelings that sometimes have a negative output. But self-reflection's nothing without self-regulation. If you can't regulate your response when your emotions tell you something else, well, then we have a problem. So self-regulation is essential. Everybody's got an ego. The great leaders that you saw there all have a pretty small ego, with the exception of Captain Kirk, who has a huge, ironically, the size of a planet, actually. But everybody's got an ego. I've got an ego. You all in this room have an ego. And sometimes it's essential to take a tactical bruise on that ego for the betterment of an organization.
All right, guys.
So
Again, I recommend that you watch this. The title is right there. You can see the title. And what do all the great leaders have in common? He mentioned people, connection, and self-reflection. Okay? I'll take note of that, especially when you're gonna write the second paper in next week. The school have not said anything yet about how the class will be next week, whether we are coming to school next week or not. Whatever thing they say, I'll let you know. Okay? All right, Chris. Right, so let me check this name and then we continue. Yeah. Now, we go back to our presentation. So let's look at those qualities. Like at least the first one is drive. Drive. We have when we say drive, we all know what a drive. Drive simply means the high level of motivation and determination someone has. And so when it comes to leaders, it means the high level of motivation and determination that leaders possess. So when a leader have a strong drive, that means they are persistent when it comes to pursuing their goal. They don't give up. So that persistence can be an inspiration to others to do the same thing. So I've already explained example with Elon Musk. How he was able to convince investors to put money in a pre-product that have never existed before. I mean, nobody have driven a car with a battery, but he did it. And now that if you're driving in the street, you see Tesla everywhere. But driving a car, with a battery. Elon Musk is well known for his relentless drive and commitment to ambitious goals. You know that it's not only the Tesla that he has. There's another one he calls SpaceX. He also has his internet in the satellites. I think they call it the Starlink. That's his internet service. So Elon Musk's unwavering determination to revolutionize the space travel and electric vehicles. That's determination that doesn't change, unwavering, has not only pushed his company to new heights, Now, but also it has also become a part of inspiration to individuals who join. I mean, to individuals to join in his mission. Now, next quality is the drive. Sorry, the desire to lead. Desire to lead. So this is natural. I mean, somebody is a leader. And remember, not everybody that is in charge is a leader. There are some people who will be in charge, and then things will be going the wrong way. And even though they might be trying to do something to fix it, it might not be going the right way. Now, there are also leaders who are good leaders, but what they are, I mean, the direction they are leading you is the group is wrong, but they are so effective in doing it that many people in the group will deceive. You know about Hitler. Has a kind of a vision of conquering the whole Europe, and he was leading Germany towards that direction, even though it involves committing all kind of war crimes. They did not stop at doing that. So he was able to inspire the whole Germany to support him, even though the goal is not a goal that is good for humanity. But he's a good leader. He was a good leader. Even though his goal of conquering the whole Europe was not feasible. I won't say feasible because he almost did that. The German army was one of the strongest then, but
So you say Hitler?
Yeah, Hitler is a charismatic. He's a charismatic leader. He was able to inspire Germans, even though in the wrong direction.
Right. That's why I'm just like,
Yeah, he led them in the wrong direction.
Hitler?
Yeah, see, leadership is about inspiring people to do to one direction. Hitler did his own, but it's in the wrong direction.
Right.
So it's almost like a genocide. But Germans, in that time, we are in support of him. You know, so that's why they almost conquer, if not that America, and of course Britain. America, in fact, if not America came in, he would have done it, because Britain was very bold, fighting back, just like Ukraine is fighting Russia. But it's only Britain, and they are, they have a lot of limitations. Even Russia, he almost got Russia. So what Russia did during the Second World War was because America and Britain gave Russia air cover. He was able to do that. Now, the what they call it, the Emperor of Japan at that time also was able to inspire Japan. In fact, Japanese were the first people that started doing suicide bombing, because they were so inspired by what their emperor was, indoctrinating them, that they go on suicide missions. They want to bomb a place. They can go with the plane and die there at the same time, believing that they are doing it for their leader. Anyway, long story short, America came in and then stopped them. Whatever. Before America did that, he has already conquered Spain, Poland, France, and many other European countries. But after getting those countries, that was what made him to go to attack Russia. Anyway, the bottom line is that he was able to inspire his people, but in the wrong direction. What we need is a leader who can inspire people in the right direction. That inspiration must be there. That motivation must be there. Then, of course, if it's in the wrong direction, we don't want that. We want the one that goes in the right direction. So now, Angela Merkel, former Chancellor of Germany, is an example of a leader with a strong desire to lead as well. So, throughout her career, he was able to demonstrate that she has a genuine commitment to public service and took on leadership roles at various levels of government. So, I don't know how many of you have known. Of course, you know, have heard of Angela Merkel. Let me see if I can play this clip for you. Before I do that, I want to say this, that Miss Angela Merkel was, had a strong desire to lead Germany in the right direction, and he is highly dedicated to navigating very complex political issue at the time she was in charge. Let me show you this for Angela Merkel. Okay, let me see.
When you write, your tone influences how readers respond. With Grammarly, just highlight your text and type how you want to sound.
This with you.
Get your message right every time.
And then that's right there, Angela Merkel.
In the early days, long before she became Germany's first female chancellor, and even longer before Western media outlets claimed her as the new leader of the free world. After 16 years in office, Angela Merkel is at once one of the most familiar leaders of our time and one of the most enigmatic. Her image so entwined with the country that picturing what comes next can be a challenge. Erlinde Kolbel first photographed Merkel in 1991.
I was struck by her power, even though she was an inexperienced woman.
She's taken her picture for 30 years, describing a down-to-earth character who keeps her emotions firmly in check.
She talked about this in the interviews I did with her. She had to learn it, and I think she learned it very well.
She also says Merkel never lets ego get in the way. She never once insisted on approving a photo.
She didn't love the cameras, but she accepted to be photographed because it's part of her position and her job.
Now that Merkel is stepping down, the political autopsy of her chancellorship and what state it's left Germany in is well underway. Klaus Goetz teaches at the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich.
One couldn't really argue that she leaves the European Union in a much better place than she found it.
Goetz describes Merkel as a manager, not an innovator.
The structural impact is not comparable, for example, to the chancellorship of Helmut Kohl. Under Helmut Kohl, we had the Maastricht Treaty, with the introduction of the euro, we had German unification.
Merkel's advocates say it is her skill as a manager that has defined her premiership, an ability to seek compromise into the wee hours and present a steady hand at the helm during times of crisis. In 2015, when hundreds of thousands of mainly Syrian refugees arrived in Europe, Merkel was criticized for leaving Germany's border open. Her response to worried Germans: "Wir schaffen das. We can manage this." Malika Jasmati and Mohammed Al-Khamian say they owe Angela Merkel a debt.
It's refugees' mother, because she opened her hands to them. For me, I'm so sad, actually. I like her so much.
The couple were a part of that Syrian wave. Today, they have a son and a successful Syrian restaurant in Berlin. Jasmati has even cooked for Merkel. Many Germans responded to Merkel's call for the country to become a welcoming culture. But her decision also provoked anti-immigrant groups, and it was on her watch that a far-right party was elected to the German parliament for the first time since the end of the Second World War. Jasmati and Al-Khamian admit to some jitters about a post-Merkel Germany.
For me, I feel afraid about everything.
She occupied a huge place in Germany, So if she left, who is the one who will take this place?
This election campaign has seen the two leading contenders essentially trying to out-Merkel Merkel. But there are those who want a less cautious leader. In the early days of her tenure, Merkel was known as the Green Chancellor, climate change high on her agenda. In recent years, she's been accused of dragging her feet, despite pressure from climate activists. Travis Todd, a dual US-German citizen, runs a campus for startups in Berlin.
I think she's been a stabilizing force there, but she's definitely not been innovative in any way. I mean, on climate, on digital economy.
COVID-19 gave Merkel another crisis to handle and another boost in popularity, but it also exposed Germany's outdated bureaucracy, still relying on fax machines and snail mail.
It's at least a good step forward to have a change of leadership in Germany at the moment, especially around these topics.
Erlinde Kobel had her last photography session with Angela Merkel 3 weeks ago, as yet unpublished.
It was emotional, of course, but we had to put our ritual also, as we did it every year.
It ended, she says, much as it began, without any fuss. Margaret Evans, CBC News.
So I hope you enjoyed it. You see the title here, and you can always look for it in YouTube and watch it. Okay. Now, let's continue with some of the threats, leadership threats. Well, the other one is honesty. Honesty is very, very important when it comes to leadership. Honesty and integrity, we want to see those in our leaders. So leaders who are honest and ethical, those leaders can inspire confidence in their decisions and action because we trust them. So a good example, I'm sure you must have heard of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was once considered the richest man in the world. He has, he's into stocks. That's what he's known for, stocks. And he has made money for a lot of people. Warren Buffett, the name of his company, they call it Berkshire Hathaway. And Buffett is known for his unwavering integrity and ethical business practices. And this is one of the reasons why people trust him with their money to invest for them. And like I said, he had made a lot of people rich in the stock market. His commitment to honesty and transparency in his financial dealings has really earned him the trust and respect of investors and shareholders worldwide. I'm going to show you a short clip again. I'd like to use an example so that you can see the message I'm trying to convey, see it in reality. So let me give you this short clip about Warren Buffett. Again, okay,
codependency. Codependency is an addiction to taking care of others.
This video is sponsored by Blinkist. Go to Blinkist.com/theplainbagel to get a week for free plus 25% off a full year subscription. Ask anyone who they think the most successful and prominent investor of the modern era is, and you'll likely get the same answer: Warren Buffett. Standing as one of the top 5 wealthiest people in the world, Buffett has an incredible track record for investing in successful companies, so much so that he's long been nicknamed the Oracle of Omaha, alluding to his ability to seemingly predict which companies would do well over time. But who exactly is Warren Buffett? Yes, most of us know that he's the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, but how did he get to where he is today? And why are investors so infatuated with him? Well, as someone who spent a lot of time wondering what a Berkshire Hathaway was before university, I thought it would be an interesting topic to cover these questions so that beginners can better understand Buffett's fervent following. So let's explore who Warren Buffett is and how he came to be known as the most successful investor in the world on today's special episode of The Plain Bagel. Warren Edward Buffett was born August 30th, 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska, amidst the Great Depression and the worst stock market crash in US history, during which time his father, Howard Buffett, actually started his own investment firm. As a child, Warren had an aptitude for numbers and a genuine love for reading, which led him to go through every piece of literature at his father's office. instilling in him at a young age a deep understanding of the value of money and compounding. Now, like most children, Buffett enjoyed playing games and competition, but this manifested in Buffett as a love for entrepreneurship and the challenge of turning money into more money, which led him to carry out a number of ventures through his childhood. Early on, his pursuits, while certainly ambitious for any child, were more conventional. Starting at the age of 7, Warren went door-to-door selling Coca-Cola and bubblegum to supplement his allowance, and later shifted to delivering papers and even selling magazine subscriptions. But Buffett bought his first stock at the early age of 11, and in his teens he started pursuing larger ventures, investing his savings in farmland, and even starting a business placing pinball machines in barbershops by the time he was 17. As a young adult, Buffett knew where his passions lay. And after finishing college, he went on to study under Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing himself, at Columbia University. Value investing refers to the practice of using fundamental research to identify cheap stocks. And Buffett had read a book by Graham and David Dodd, another prominent investor at Columbia. After failing to get into Harvard, Buffett wrote a letter to Dodd asking that he be admitted to study under the two famous investors, to which Dodd obliged, allowing Buffett to learn about stock analysis from some of the brightest minds in the field. In fact, Buffett went on to work for and develop a close professional relationship with Graham, and it was from this mentor that Buffett actually picked up his famous 2 rules of investing. Rule number 1, never lose money, and rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Outside of investments, Buffett dedicated time after graduating to take a Dale Carnegie public speaking course. While probably not viewed with the same esteem as his degree, it's here where Buffett mastered his communication skills and became a captivating speaker. In fact, Buffett himself attributes much of his success to this course. And if you visit his office in Omaha, you'll see that it's the Dale Carnegie certificate, not his Columbia master's degree, hung proudly on his wall. Now equipped with the education to launch his career, Buffett took some time to work for his father's and Graham's companies before starting his own partnerships. And with his entrepreneurial capabilities and success growing money, he quickly started accumulating wealth, becoming a millionaire by the time he was 32. But up until this point, Buffett had made most of his money employing a cigar butt investment approach, whereby he purchased troubled companies at a deep discount with the hope of getting one last puff out of them. While this was certainly working for him, Buffett's business partner and friend Charlie Munger would eventually move him away from this technique, convincing him to shift from buying fair companies at a great price to great companies at a fair price. But not before Buffett carried out what he now calls one of his worst investments of his career, a failing textile business in America, known as Berkshire Hathaway. You see, before becoming the holding company we know today, Berkshire was a struggling firm in a dying industry. And while Buffett had purchased shares hoping for a rebound, he eventually realized that the industry in North America was going extinct. As fate would have it, Buffett had a dispute with management over a 12.5-cent difference between what he said he'd sell his shares for and what management was offering him. So in a moment of spite, he bought the company and took over. As CEO, he eventually shifted the business to insurance. And using the money the company had put aside for insurance claims, Buffett began acquiring businesses and growing the holding company rapidly, investing in a wide range of operations, including a chocolate company in California, a mattress mart in Nebraska, and other more well-known names like Coca-Cola, American Express, and the Washington Post. Warren's approach involved finding quality companies with a competitive product or service run by competent management, and his method proved more than successful. Berkshire Hathaway went on to become one of the largest companies in the world, making Warren Buffett the wealthiest man alive in 2008. And his success brought Buffett a cult-like following. Annual meetings for Berkshire shareholders turned from a boring formality to what people today describe as a Woodstock for investors, with people literally traveling from around the world to attend. Buffett's annual letter to shareholders, another formality of public firms, accumulated a horde of readers, and to this day are read by millions of investors who don't even own Berkshire shares. Warren Buffett effectively became one of the most influential investors, nay, people of the modern era.
So, when you get a chance, again, I recommend you to watch it. Let us round up with the qualities and the type of leadership. Okay. Now, another quality of good leadership, of good leaders, that we need to know is what they call self-esteem. Self-esteem and self-confidence. Yes, you must have self-esteem. You must also have self-confidence to be a good leader. And I give an example here with Oprah Winfrey. At the time when the television, the television was almost like almost like a closed area for the Black people. Oprah was able to go, go into that industry and make a big splash there. Became very known worldwide. Not only that it was closed for certain people, but even women to start that kind of a show at that time was a very big task, an uphill task. But Oprah Winfrey was a Black woman, was able to go into that industry. Like I said, make a very big splash. I still remember the Oprah's book, I forgot what they call it, whereby she selects one book every month, I believe. And if Oprah selects your book, as an author, if she select that your book as the book of the month, you as an author become an automatic millionaire. So how did she do that? Because she have self-esteem, have drive, which she got from her father. Okay, and then it made her to become very renowned worldwide. So that which leads us to the next quality, which is open-mindedness. Leaders who are open-minded can foster an environment where creativity and diverse viewpoints are encouraged. A good leader, a leader that have done that is Amazon leader, founder, Jeff Bezos. And we have seen how his open-mindedness have helped Amazon. All the time he was a leader, even including now, Jeff Bezos have consistently sought innovative solutions to challenges in the e-commerce and technology industries. And this kind of open-mindedness have make him to lead Amazon to become one of the world's most successful companies. Okay. How about intelligence? Of course, naturally, if you want to be a leader, you need to be intelligent, because you must have the ability to analyze complex situations, understand emotions of your team members, and also make informed decisions. Now, this chief operating officer of Facebook, her name is Sheryl Sandberg, is known for her intelligence and emotional intelligence. And Ms. Sandberg has played a very pivotal role in Facebook's growth. How? Well, she's involved in making strategic decisions and in promoting a collaborative, inclusive workplace culture. And of course, we know that's how the effect it has had on Facebook. I think Facebook, one of the most popular social networking sites in the world. And also, it is no longer not only a social networking company. It has become other things. You can do other things with Facebook. You can read news from Facebook. You can do all kinds of stuff with Facebook. Extraversion. Now, that word extraversion means outgoing and socializing. So a good leader need to have that. Okay? Because it can be an asset to the company, especially when it comes to networking and team interactions. Now, that doesn't mean that all good leaders must be extroverts. Some good leaders can be introverts. For example, Bill Gates of Microsoft. We know that he's in the business world, they regard him as an introvert. Yet, he has been an influential leader in the technology industry and a prominent figure in global philanthropy too, as well. So, which means that An introvert can also be a good leader. So any question to what I have said so far? Any question? Hello, scholars, any question?
What did you just say about the introverts being good leaders?
Yeah, so I give an example with a Microsoft leader. What's his name?
Bill Gates. Who?
Bill Gates. Yes. So he's an introvert, but he was able to lead the Microsoft to great heights. Almost all the computers used in offices are Microsoft. Use Microsoft operating system. Almost all computers using the world use Microsoft operating system. And
yeah, I have a MacBook and I still use Microsoft for Word.
See?
Yeah.
So that means that even in as much as we need a good leader to be an extrovert, you can also be a good leader and an introvert at the same time. That's what I was saying. Okay? Does that answer your question? Hello? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. So leadership styles. Look at leadership style. We have three leadership styles. We have the autocratic leaders, democratic leader, and laissez-faire. Autocratic leaders, well, we call them autocratic leaders because they make decisions without consulting their employees. They expect their employees to follow orders without question. Yes, we have autocrats. When it comes to political leaders, we have so many autocrats in the world that lead countries. Then in the business world, we have them too. Like Steve Jobs of Apple Incorporated. They have stories about Steve Jobs being a very strict leader. He has a good vision, a clear vision for the company, and he make decisions unilaterally. You know. So, and he's basically an autocratic leader, but in the right direction. So his management style was also known for being demanding and sometimes harsh, but he was able to make his employees to work in such a way that they created groundbreaking products like the iPhone and iPad. Jobs is obsessed with detail and insists on perfection in every product that Apple make. That made Apple a very, that's why they keep producing groundbreaking inventions and innovation and products that have high quality. But he's an autocratic leader. So good things can come from autocratic leaders too, as you can see from Apple. Now, how about these democratic leaders? Yeah, these leaders involve their employees in the decision-making process. They're known for seeking input from their team members. They are also known for their considering suggestions before making the final decision. Good example, we have the former CEO of PepsiCo. Her name is Indra Nooyi. She was known to be a democratic leader. Now let's look at it. Laissez-faire. Laissez-faire leaders take a hands-off approach to leader. What does that mean? It means that they give their employees a lot of freedom to make their own decision. The example we did before, Warren Buffett is a laissez-faire leader. He has built his conglomerates of diverse business and allows leaders of those businesses to operate independently. Another good example of laissez-faire leader is the former president of the United States. His name is Bill Clinton. He's also a laissez-faire leader. Now, at this point, I think we have to round up. I would say do your homework, study the reading materials for this class, and the test, do the test, and then I will see you guys next week. But remember, next week is the Thanksgiving week. So I haven't gotten any information from the school, but I know that Thanksgiving is on Thursday. Am I right?
I think we're not having class on Thursday.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't Thanksgiving Thursday?
It's on Thursday, right?
Yeah,
Right.
So we'll not have a class on Thursday then. I don't have to
Right,
wait.
no
I don't
class.
have to wait for the school because it's on Thursday. Nobody go. Thanksgiving Day is a public holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna see you guys when? Let me see. I'm seeing you guys again on the 30th. Okay.
The 30th.
Yeah. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too, Professor.
Enjoy your turkey. But remember, don't drink too much. Okay. All right, guys. Have a nice evening.
You too, Professor.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Excuse me, sir.
All right.
So I have a question.
I have a question, sir. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Would we have an assignment that week, dear?
Which one?
I'm asking, would we have schoolwork to do that week of Thanksgiving?
No school, no assignment, no school.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.